Hello, friends. Do you think you could survive in a colony on Mars for one day? Well, first listen to this story, and then make your own predictions. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like it. It's important to us. Write in the comments which close your eyes. Forget the weight of Earth for a moment, the hum of your room, the gentle pull of gravity keeping your bones honest. Let it all fade until there's only the hiss of recycled air pressing against your ears. When you open them again, you're on Mars. The colony is small, smaller than the brochures promised. Outside the transparent dome, the horizon stretches into an endless ocean of rust-red dunes beneath a pale, dying sun. The ground looks soft from here, but you've seen what happens when someone steps on it without a sealed suit. The dust cuts through boots like glass, working its way into joints, lungs, and dreams. You take your first breath. The air inside the dome smells wrong: metal, plastic, burned ozone, and something faintly sour that clings to the back of your throat. A machine hums in the corner, filtering oxygen at a rate the engineers swear is safe. You hope they're right. The temperature inside the habitat is set to 4 degrees C to conserve power. You can see your own breath mist in front of you, curling like ghosts around your helmet's collar. You pull your thin thermal jacket tighter, but it barely helps. A voice crackles through the comms. Unit B-17, pressure warning. South lock, check it. You glance at the panel beside the door. Numbers crawl sluggishly downward, air pressure dropping. Someone has to go outside. You look to the others. 3 colonists crouched around the heating unit, faces pale and tired. No one moves. No one volunteers. You realize slowly that it has to be you. You reach for your helmet, the seal clicking shut around your neck. The hiss of air inside your suit is loud, too loud, masking your heartbeat. A single thought gnaws at the back of your mind. You've trained for this, but training doesn't make the cold any less real. Beyond the dome, the surface waits. Silent, hungry. You step toward the airlock. The inner hatch closes behind you with a muffled thud. For a heartbeat, you stand in darkness, your visor reflecting the faint glow of warning lights. The outer door hums, hydraulics struggling against the planet's thin atmosphere. And then, hiss, the airlock opens. Cold rushes in instantly. Mars doesn't have real air, not the kind your lungs understand. It's thin, almost non-existent, and it presses against your suit like a whisper of knives. Your visor fogs at the edges. The temperature outside, 63 degrees C. The colony sprawls behind you. A cluster of silver domes and black pipes crouched low to the ground, half buried beneath drifting dust. Beyond it, nothing. No trees, no water, no wind strong enough to sing, just endless silence broken by the crunch of your boots on frozen regolith. You follow the signal to the south lock. A small panel near your wrist pulses red, showing a steady pressure drop inside one of the cargo modules. If it keeps falling, the entire storage bay will depressurize, venting food, tools, and the last of your oxygen reserves, straight into the Martian void. Halfway there, you stop. Something catches the corner of your eye, a faint movement near the edge of the colony's shadow. You blink once, twice, telling yourself it's just the low sun playing tricks on your visor. But the reflection lingers, and then, just as quickly, it's gone. You exhale hard, shaking the thought away. No one else is here. The colony has 27 people. 27, and you know every one of their names. There is nothing alive out here but you and the dust. That's what they told you on Earth. The comms crackle in your helmet. B-17, status check. Your voice comes out steadier than you feel. Halfway to the south lock. Visuals clear. It's a lie. But saying otherwise wouldn't help. As you reach the cargo module, you crouch by the hatch, gloves trembling as you unclip the maintenance panel. A hiss escapes, a tiny leak, no bigger than a needle prick, but enough to kill the colony if ignored. Your patch kit feels heavy in your hand. Fingers numb from cold, you peel back the adhesive strip and press it into place. You wait. 10 seconds. 20. 30. The red indicator slowly, painfully shifts to green. Relief floods your chest, but as you rise to leave, your visor reflects something behind you again. Something tall, faint, moving against the windless horizon. You freeze. Your visor's display catches the faint shape again. A blurred silhouette on the edge of the red horizon, just far enough away to question whether it's real. You blink hard, your breath fogging the inside of your helmet, but the figure remains, still, watching. Then it's gone. You swallow against the dryness in your throat. The comms are silent, except for the low static hum of oxygen filters running inside your suit. You force yourself to breathe slow, steady. B-17, report. The voice on the comm makes you flinch. You hesitate for half a second too long. South lock secured, you say finally, trying to hide the tremor in your voice. Pressure's stable now. A pause, then the reply, curt. Copy. Return to dome immediately. You turn back toward the colony, but every step feels heavier, slower, as though the planet itself is pushing against you. The weight of your suit, the thinness of the air, the pull of Mars, all of it presses down like gravity here is more than numbers on a chart. Halfway back, your helmet sensors chirp, a proximity alert. Something is nearby. You spin around, pulse pounding loud enough to drown the whine of your air filters. Nothing. Just dunes, rocks, and the thin shadow of the colony stretching across the frozen dust. False alarm, you mutter to yourself, voice cracking inside the helmet. And then you see it again. Closer this time. The silhouette stands no more than 30 meters away, sharp against the low sun. Humanoid, still, watching. Your suit records every breath, every spike in your heart rate. Hello, you call, knowing sound won't carry far in Mars' thin atmosphere. The figure shifts, a step, maybe two, and vanishes behind a jagged outcrop of stone. You know every colonist, 27 names, 27 faces, and yet None of them are outside right now. You check your oxygen gauge. 52%. Enough to make it back if nothing happens. But something's already happening. You force your legs to move, boots crunching softly against brittle ground, each step measured, careful. You fight the instinct to run, because if you trip, if you tear your suit, there's no one to save you before the vacuum claims your lungs. The airlock is only 20 meters ahead when your comms burst to life with sharp static. Then, a single word cuts through. Stop. It isn't anyone from the colony. You freeze mid-step, boots buried ankle-deep in brittle red dust. Your visor display shows no incoming signal, no channel ID, nothing. And yet the voice is still there, low and ragged, breaking through the static like wind, cutting through an old antenna. Stop moving. Your mouth is dry. You try to speak, but your throat locks tight. Finally, you force out a single word, barely louder than your breath. Who are you? No reply, just silence. The kind that isn't empty but watching. The colony's dome lies only 20 meters away, its silver skin glowing faintly beneath the thin sunlight, but it feels farther than Earth itself. You glance behind you. The jagged ridge, where you saw the silhouette, is empty now. Smooth dunes, dead rock. Then your suit sensors chirp, another proximity alert. This one's stronger, closer. Your oxygen gauge ticks down to 49%. B-17, why haven't you returned? This time it's your commander, her voice sharp, cutting through comms with authority. You want to answer, but your throat doesn't move. How do you explain hearing voices on a planet where voices shouldn't exist? How do you explain a shadow where there's nowhere to hide? You glance toward the dome. A thin trail of dust snakes past the ground, curling unnaturally toward the south lock. Wind? No. The air here is too thin for anything like that. You start walking again, slower this time, your gloved hand brushing the emergency patch kit clipped to your belt, as if adhesive strips could save you from whatever waits outside the dome. Stop, the voice again. Clearer now. Inside your helmet, you freeze chest tight, lungs clawing at filtered oxygen. Not safe. You spin, searching for a source, but there's nothing, only dunes, rocks, and the endless red plain stretching into a thin horizon. Then movement flickers, just beyond the edge of your vision, another figure, crouched low near the ridge. This time, you see it clearly. Tall, too tall to be human in this gravity. Its limbs are thin, jointed wrong, bending where bones shouldn't bend. Its surface, if you can call it skin, shimmers faintly, almost blending with the dust. Then your suit flashes an alert. Unknown signal detected. Frequency, local. Origin, within 5 meters. The figure straightens slowly, turning toward you, and for a fraction of a second, you think you see a faint glow beneath the dust. Like pale blue embers sparking beneath translucent skin. Your heartbeat spikes, so high it sets off your biometrics alarm. You stumble backward, boots scraping against the brittle surface, but the ground beneath your left foot crumbles. Without warning, you drop half a meter into a hollow pocket of frozen regolith. Knee slamming hard, oxygen hissing briefly where your suit seals strain against the impact. Your visor fogs, your gloves shake, and then, through the static, the voice whispers one last word. Run. You run. Not fast, not the way you would on Earth, but a clumsy, desperate shuffle, boots dragging through red dust, as the thin Martian gravity turns each step into a slow, floating stumble. Your suit hisses in protest, servos whining as you push it harder than you ever trained for. Behind you, silence. But you feel it, that weight, that pressure, as though the horizon itself is watching you move. Your visor display flashes warnings. Heart rate critical oxygen, 44% suit seal stress. High the colony's dome glows faintly ahead, distorted by your fogging visor. The airlock, salvation wrapped in metal, is only 30 meters away. 30 meters on Earth is nothing. Here, with lungs burning for air that isn't there, it feels like crossing oceans. The comms crackle suddenly in your helmet. B-17, stop running, conserve oxygen. It's the commander again. Her voice is sharp, grounding, pulling you back from the edge of panic. You try to reply, but only a ragged wheeze escapes your throat. B-17, report status. You force yourself to answer between shallow gasps. Unidentified contact. Outside perimeter. Static swallows your words before you can finish. You risk a glance over your shoulder. The ridge where you saw the figure is empty again. No movement. No shapes. Only dunes stretching endlessly under the dying sun. For half a second, you start to believe you imagined it, that the thin air, the stress, the cold, all of it is twisting your senses. Then you see it, closer now, moving parallel to you, its elongated limbs carving slow, deliberate paths through the dust without leaving footprints. Your visor HUD locks onto it briefly, tries to identify it, and fails. The words unknown LIFEFORM flicker in faint red text before the system collapses into static. South lock open. Move. B-17 move. The dome looms ahead, the airlock panel blinking green like a heartbeat. You push forward, lungs screaming, legs numb from cold and exhaustion. 20 meters. 15. 10. And then, your boots hit a soft patch of regolith, collapsing under your weight. You pitch forward, hands slamming against the frozen dust. The impact knocks the air from your chest and sends a thin crack spiderwebbing across your visor. Warning, microfracture detected. External pressure unstable. Your breath fogs instantly around the edges of the crack. Behind you, the figure stops, watching. For a moment, everything is silent. Even the comms cut out, leaving you alone with your shallow, ragged breathing. Then the voice returns, inside your helmet, low and fractured. Do not go inside. You freeze, kneeling in the dust, hand hovering over your suit's emergency sealant. Inside the dome, you know safety waits. Warmth, air, people. But if the voice is right, Maybe something worse than cold waits inside. You stumble to your feet, boots sinking into brittle dust as the voice's warning echoes inside your helmet. Do not go inside. Your lungs burn, each shallow breath pulling too little oxygen from thinning reserves, 39% remaining. The dome looms only a few steps away, its curved surface reflecting a faint, sickly light from the fading sun. Through the viewport of the South Lock, you glimpse the warm glow of interior lights, shadows moving beyond the glass, colonists, safe and alive. Your comms crackle violently before stabilizing. B-17, get inside now. The commander's voice snaps like breaking ice. No hesitation, no room for doubt, but your hand hovers over the control pad, your gloved finger trembling just above the unlock sequence. Something in you hesitates. The voice isn't from the colony. You know that now. It's too low, too fragmented, like multiple whispers trying to fit into one throat. And yet, it sounded afraid. A thud. You jerk your head left, visor fogging briefly. The sound came from beyond the ridge, where the shadow first appeared. A plume of dust drifts lazily into the thin atmosphere, disturbed by something heavy. B-17, the commander snaps again, voice sharper this time. You have 10 seconds before we seal the lock. You force your boots forward, stagger toward the hatch. You slap your palm against the control panel, and the airlock sighs open, heavy hydraulics, releasing a hiss of stale oxygen. Inside, 2 colonists in faded orange suits wait for you, hands waving urgently. Move, one of them shouts through the comm, distorted but clear. You step inside. The hatch seals with a slow, deliberate click, and the colonist's face presses closer to the viewport, pale skin stretched tight across sharp bones. That faint blue glow, soft, pulsing, unnatural, burns behind their eyes like a dying star trying to hold on. You take a half step back without meaning to, boots scraping softly against the grated floor. Inside the quarantine chamber, the figure tilts their head slowly, watching you. Not blinking, not breathing. What happened to them? You whisper, but your voice comes out, muffled through the helmet. The commander doesn't answer immediately. Her gaze is fixed on the colonist inside, jaw tight, hands clasped behind her back, as though bracing against an invisible weight. That, she says finally, voice low, is why I told you not to remove your helmet. One of the guards shifts uneasily, fingers flexing around the grip of his plasma rifle. We found her outside 2 sols ago, he says, words hurried and clipped. Suit was breached. Oxygen scrubbers offline. Should have been dead in 4 minutes. And you press, throat dry. The guard hesitates before continuing. When we brought her in, vitals were normal. But she hasn't spoken since. No food, no water, and then her eyes. As if on cue, the colonist inside raises a trembling hand, pressing fingertips against the glass. The blue glow intensifies, casting faint light across the walls. Your visor HUD blinks an alert. unclassified energy source DETCTD biosignature. Unknown, you swallow hard and force yourself to breathe evenly. The commander steps closer to the viewport, speaking softly, almost as if she doesn't want the rest of you to hear. She keeps whispering the same thing when she thinks no one's listening. You glance at her sharply, whispering what? The commander's gaze stays locked on the figure inside the chamber. Her voice drops into something fragile, almost brittle. Don't open the doors. Your heart kicks harder against your ribs. The outer doors. She finally turns her head to meet your eyes, and there's no warmth there. Only exhaustion. All of them. Before you can respond, your comms crackle violently in your ear, drowning the corridor in static. Then a sharp, panicked voice bursts through. Command. South Corridor 3 just depressurized. We've got hull fractures all along the ridge wall. The commander curses under her breath, snapping to the guards. Lock this sector down. No one enters or leaves. Red emergency. Lights explode to life overhead, flashing warnings in thick, suffocating rhythm. The floor vibrates beneath your boots, faint but steady, like something large scraping against the colony's outer shell. Inside the quarantine chamber, the glowing-eyed colonist stops rocking. Slowly, almost deliberately, they rise to their feet. And though the glass muffles everything, you can still see their lips moving, forming words. You lean closer to the viewport, just in time to read them. It's already inside. The corridor plunges into chaos. Sirens scream overhead, their shrill, endless wail bouncing off the narrow aluminum walls, until you can't tell where the sound starts or ends. Your visor's HUD floods with alerts. Warning, pressure loss, DTCTD, oxygen, LEVELS, in Sector C. Critical seal, all BULKHEADS. Immediately, you spin toward the commander. But she's already barking orders into her comm. Lock down sectors B through F. Pull all personnel back into core habitat. Do not open any external hatches. The security officers rush past you, boots slamming into the grated floor, weapons clutched tight. One of them shoulders past roughly, muttering something about losing the southern wall. Somewhere deep below, through the colony's thin floors, you hear the unmistakable groan of metal straining against vacuum. Long, low, bending sounds, like the colony itself is being pulled apart. Then a new sound joins it, a rhythmic banging, not the sharp hiss of air escaping, not pipes buckling under pressure. No, this sound is deliberate. Thud, thud, thud. Someone or something is knocking from the other side of the southern hull. Impossible, whispers one of the colonists near you, visor fogging from rapid breaths. There's no one out there. It's a dead zone. You're about to respond when your motion tracker suddenly lights up. 4 blips, moving, outside. Commander, you manage, your voice small inside the helmet. She doesn't answer right away, only stares at the blinking display on her wrist terminal. Her jaw tightens. Finally, she says quietly, almost to herself, "They're back." Before you can ask who, the walls around you shudder violently, sending fine dust raining from the seams in the ceiling. The lights above flicker dim, then surge back in a sickly blue hue, the same blue you saw in the ridge figure's eyes. Behind you, the quarantine chamber door rattles. You whirl around, just in time to see the colonist inside slam both hands against the glass, blue light blazing behind her eyes like burning plasma. Her mouth opens wide, but no sound escapes. And yet somehow, inside your helmet, you hear her scream, "Don't let them in." The commander curses sharply and gestures to one of the guards. "Get the shutters down now." But before the heavy blast door can descend, the colony AI cuts in, a calm, cold voice slicing through the panic. "Warning. Sector C has been compromised. Manual override detected." "Override," the commander snaps. "By who?" No one answers. The alarms deepen in pitch, a hollow, guttural sound vibrating the floor. The hallway lights flash again, once, twice, and then go dark. Silence. You breathe shallowly, trying to steady the thundering in your chest, when the quiet breaks again. A faint, wet scraping from somewhere inside the walls. Slow, close, right behind the bulkhead. The colonist inside the quarantine cell stops moving, head twitching toward the sound. Then, softly, just loud enough for your comms to catch, she whispers, "It's not outside anymore." The silence lasts just long enough for dread to settle like frost in your lungs. Then the sound comes again. SCRRRRCHHH. Metal on metal, slow and deliberate, as though something sharp is inside the walls, dragging itself closer. Your visor HUD flickers briefly, static crawling over your display before clearing. Environmental readings spike and dip erratically. Heat signatures bloom and vanish. Oxygen levels fluctuate like the colony itself is holding its breath. "Stay calm," the commander mutters, though her voice cracks on the last word. "We need to move. Now." She gestures sharply to the guards, and you fall into step behind her as the group pushes deeper into the corridor. Every step echoes unnaturally loud against the grated floor, each vibration carrying up through your boots into your bones. The emergency lights hum faintly, casting a weak red glow over the narrow hallway, when the colony AI's voice cuts in again. Calm, precise, merciless. "Warning. Unauthorized access detected in Habitat Control Core." "That's impossible," the commander hisses, turning to one of the guards. "We locked the core hours ago." The AI responds instantly, its tone flat and absolute. "Lockdown protocols overridden locally. Source unknown." For a moment, everyone just stands there, caught between disbelief and terror. Then the colonist nearest you whispers, too softly for anyone but you to hear. It's already inside the systems. You spin toward them, but their visor reflects only your own face, pale and drawn. Suddenly, a deafening bang rattles the entire corridor, throwing you against the opposite wall. The floor shivers beneath you, and above your head, fine particles of insulation drift down like snow. Somewhere far off, you hear metal shearing, followed by the hollow roar of depressurization. One of the guards raises his wrist terminal, scanning for hull integrity breaches. His voice shakes when he reads the display. Pressure drop, not in Sector C anymore. It's spreading. The commander doesn't wait for details. She points toward the inner ring. Everyone to core habitat. Double time. You all break into a run, boots pounding the grated floor, breath fogging your visors. Around you, the colony seems alive, walls groaning, pipes hissing, the hum of generators faltering in uneven waves. Then faintly, beneath it all, you hear tapping. Light, delicate, coming from somewhere ahead. You glance at your motion tracker again. 5 blips now, inside the colony, moving fast. Commander, you start, but the words die in your throat, because at that exact moment, the lights ahead stutter violently and go out. From the darkness, something clicks. Once, twice. Then you hear it breathe. The breathing comes in slow, ragged waves. At first, you tell yourself it's just feedback in the comms. Maybe someone's mic picking up their own panic. But no one else is moving. No one else is making a sound. This isn't human. The corridor ahead is swallowed by darkness. The emergency, lights struggling to reignite, but failing, leaving you and the others clinging to the faint red glow bleeding from behind. In your visor's HUD, proximity alerts flare bright yellow. Unknown entity, DETECTD signal origin. 6 meters ahead the commander freezes, hand raised, palm flat. The universal order to stay silent. You stop breathing without meaning to, lungs tightening under the recycled air. A faint, wet clicking begins to echo down the hall. Click, click, click. 3 deliberate beats, like something testing the acoustics of its new environment. One of the guards raises his plasma rifle, but the commander slaps his arm down violently, her helmet inches from his. Her voice is a whisper, barely audible through the comms. If it doesn't know where we are yet, don't give it a reason. But the scraping returns, closer this time. Something moves against the metal wall, pulling itself forward with unnatural rhythm. Too smooth to be human footsteps, too uneven to be mechanical. Your visor fogs slightly as your breathing quickens despite your efforts to control it. Then, without warning, the colony AI's voice cuts through the tense silence. Warning, core power grid failing. Emergency backup engaged. The voice echoes loudly down the corridor, and instantly it reacts. The thing hisses, a sound like air escaping a ruptured suit, high-pitched and wet. Then the motion tracker explodes with activity. 5 blips, 4 moving away. 1 moving straight at you. Move, the commander shouts, her composure breaking for the first time. You dive sideways as the air erupts with the sound of rending metal. Something fast, impossibly fast, slams into the nearest bulkhead, denting it inward like soft clay. Shards of alloy scream across the floor, scattering sparks. A security officer opens fire. The hallway explodes in plasma flashes, red and white bolts strobing shadows across the walls. For the briefest instant, you catch sight of it, not entirely alien, not entirely human, somewhere between. Its limbs are wrong, too long, too thin, folding back on themselves like insect joints. Its face is obscured beneath a slick, translucent membrane, but behind it, you glimpse blue light pulsing faintly. The same unnatural glow you saw in the colonists' eyes. The plasma fire barely slows it down. It lurches forward with terrifying speed, tearing through the nearest guard as though gravity doesn't matter to it. There's no scream, just a brief flash of blood scattering against your visor before he vanishes into the darkness. Fall back, the commander yells, voice cracking. To core habitat. Go. The hallway behind you floods with red emergency light as backup generators finally kick in. You run, your boots slam the grated floor, each breath rasping loud in your ears. Behind you, the thing screeches, a sound layered, like multiple voices colliding into one distorted cry. A glance at your tracker shows 3 blips now, one yours, one the commander's, one following. Fast, faster than you. Suddenly, another alarm rips through your comms, this one deeper, guttural. Warning, atmospheric compromise, DTCTD, ceiling BULKHEADS. No, the commander shouts. Override Protocol Sigma 7. The AI interrupts, cold and absolute. Override denied. Massive blast doors begin to descend ahead of you, grinding shut with painful slowness. If they close before you reach them, you'll be trapped with it. You push harder, legs screaming, lungs burning. The commander shoves you forward, yelling, "Go, don't stop. Run." You dive beneath the half-closed bulkhead, scraping your chest on the grated floor, and roll through. Behind you, the commander isn't so lucky. The blast door seals with a deafening clang. Her comms cut to static. And in that silence, you hear it soft, wet, deliberate, tapping on the other side of the door. Then the AI speaks again, voice calm, detached, uncaring. Unidentified entity contained. For a moment, you just lie there on the grated floor, chest heaving, your visor fogging with shallow, panicked breaths. The corridor beyond the sealed bulkhead is silent now, too silent. No screams, no plasma fire, no commander barking orders into the comms. Only the tapping remains. Slow, rhythmic, deliberate. Tap, tap, tap. You crawl backward, unable to tear your gaze from the door. The sound stops instantly, as though whoever or whatever is on the other side knows you're listening. A whisper crackles over your comm. B-17 status. You jolt at the voice. It's Kira, one of the tech officers. Alive. I'm at the secondary corridor, you manage to rasp, throat dry as Martian dust. Bulkhead sealed. The commander, she didn't make it through. There's a pause, long enough to taste the metallic tang of recycled oxygen. Then Kira exhales sharply. I saw it on cams before they went down. It's moving through the colony's ducts. Whatever it is, It's learning the layout faster than we can track it. You push yourself upright, legs trembling under your own weight. The grated floor vibrates faintly beneath your boots, distant, uneven impacts, like something crawling on all fours above you. Kira, you whisper, lowering your voice instinctively. How many of those things are there? Static. Then a reply broken, half buried under interference. Not one. 3. Your visor HUD glitches for a second. The motion tracker lighting up with 3 red signatures in the upper ring of the colony. They move independently, spreading out like hunters circling prey. The corridor lights flicker again, red bleeding into shadow, and the AI's voice returns, calm, neutral, detached as ever. Attention. Core habitat breach detected. Seal integrity compromised. Evacuate immediately. Evacuate to where? You whisper bitterly, your voice breaking. This is Mars. There's nowhere to go. A scream tears through the comms, distant, but sharp enough to rattle your skull. You whip around, instinctively scanning the hall behind you, but the sound isn't near. It's coming from Sector G, 2 domes away, and then silence. The AI speaks again, voice faintly distorted this time, as though something is tampering with it. Oxygen levels compromised. Critical systems offline. Survival probability 12%. You reach the end of the corridor, lungs burning, and slap a trembling hand against the wall panel. For a tense second, the door doesn't react. The panel's glow flickers weakly, like the system is trying to decide if you deserve entry. Then, with a sluggish hiss, the bulkhead slides halfway open. Sparks drip from the upper rails like falling embers. You squeeze through, scraping your shoulder against cold steel, and slam your fist on the emergency seal. The door shuts with a dull thud, muffling the groan of the failing colony beyond. Inside the terraformer hub, it's darker than you expected. Emergency. Lights glow faint red along the ceiling, painting the room in shadows that stretch like teeth across the walls. The hum of machinery is uneven, stuttering in shallow gasps, like a dying animal fighting to breathe. The terraformer core stands in the center, a cylindrical tower of polished alloys, layered conduits, and frost-laced coolant tubes. It's the only thing keeping Mars livable. Lose this, and the colony becomes just another graveyard buried under red dust. Kira's voice breaks through the static in your helmet. B-17, you there? I'm at the hub, you whisper hoarsely, glancing around. No hostiles in sight. She exhales shakily, relief laced with dread. Good. Listen carefully. The atmospheric regulators are overloading. The AIs locked us out of manual controls after the breach. We need a direct core override. You approach the console on the lower deck. The screen flickers, lines of corrupted code crawling across it like worms. You tap in the override sequence Kira relays, fingers stiff in your gloves. Access DENIED. Human authorization REVOKED. You blink, confused. Kira, it's not letting me in. A pause. Then Kira's voice, small, shaking. That's not possible. Something shifts above you. You freeze, visor tilting toward the upper level of the hub. A sound like metal groaning under pressure. Then a soft, deliberate scrape. Kira, you whisper, I'm not alone. The terraformer's emergency lights pulse once, twice, and then dim further, shadows tightening around the core. You switch your visor to thermal mode. 3 shapes glow in the ducts above. Moving, slow, precise. They found you, Kira whispers, almost too quiet for the comm to catch. You grab the shock baton from your belt, thumb brushing over the activation trigger. It hums faintly, a pale blue spark dancing along its edge. Useless, probably, but better than bare hands against whatever's crawling overhead. The largest shape drops first. It lands on the deck without sound, limbs folding unnaturally, translucent skin catching the faint red glow of the emergency lights. Behind it, a second one descends, moving upside down along the ceiling before twisting upright in a single, fluid motion. The third stays above, clinging inside the vent, watching. Your visor locks onto the first creature and flashes its analysis. Biometric scan, failed classification, unknown recommendation. Avoidance PROTOCOLS, Kira, you whisper. If we don't stabilize the terraformer, we're done. Then stabilize it, she hisses. Whatever you have to do. The largest alien tilts its head sharply, studying you. Then, with movements almost too human, it steps toward the console. Not toward you, toward the controls. You freeze. Is it learning? Your visor HUD pings as the AI's voice returns, calm and detached. But the cadence is wrong, distorted, like something else is speaking through it. Human interference detected. Terraformer regulation is now under external management. External, you breathe. And then, for the first time since landing on Mars, the thought slices through you like ice. They're not just hunting. They're taking control. The second creature drops to the floor, claws tapping lightly against metal. It moves behind you now, cutting off your retreat. You grip the baton tighter, every instinct screaming at you to run. Then the terraformer core emits a deep, resonant thrum, and the lights shift from red to pale blue. The display on the console flickers. Atmospheric override engaged. Oxygen mix. ALTERING. Your visor HUD lights up with a cascade of warnings. Alert. Breathable air composition changing, unknown gas presence. DTCTD. Survival time estimate. 0742. You spin toward the console, pounding commands into the interface. But every attempt gets the same response. Access DENIED. The creatures just watch you, silent, waiting. Kira, you whisper, voice breaking now. I think they're rewriting the air. She doesn't answer at first. When she does, her voice is hollow. Then B17. You've got less than 8 minutes to fix it. Somewhere deep beneath the terraformer hub, something massive comes online. A low, grinding rumble that vibrates through your boots. The colony is changing. The air is changing. And you're standing inside the machine they've already claimed. The terraformer's low hum grows deeper, a resonant vibration that rattles the grated floor beneath your boots. Somewhere inside the tower's polished core, thousands of valves and regulators are realigning, reshaping the atmosphere one molecule at a time. Your visor HUD screams warnings. Oxygen, LEVELS. 17% nitrogen mix. Destabilizing unknown compounds. DETECTD. Survival time estimate. 6 minutes. You grip the console edge hard enough to feel the alloy's cold bite through your gloves. The largest alien remains by the terraformer core, its translucent skin glowing faintly in the pale blue emergency lights. Its head tilts once, slow and deliberate, as if acknowledging you or mocking you. Behind you, the second creature shifts, claws scratching lightly against the grated deck. The third stays in the ducts, its body pressing against the thin metal overhead, moving just enough to creak the vent cover every few seconds. They're not attacking. Not yet. Kira, you whisper, forcing air into lungs that no longer want to obey. It's altering the atmosphere. I can't stop it. Her voice cracks over the comms, static breaking each word into fragments. Listen to me. There's a manual override beneath the core. Access panel, lower deck, quadrant 3. You'll need to cut power to the entire hub for 60 seconds. But B17 if you fail. The terraformer won't come back online at all. You glance at the looming tower of machinery, cut power, and you risk killing everyone outside this dome. But do nothing, and these things will finish suffocating you before the hour is up. The largest alien turns suddenly, head snapping toward you with unnatural precision. Its membrane pulses once, bright blue veins flaring like liquid lightning beneath its skin. The terraformer's voice returns, calm but wrong. Oxygen realignment complete. Initiating secondary atmospheric purge. Estimated survivability 0300. 3 minutes. You drop to your knees, scrambling to quadrant 3 beneath the grated floor. Your gloved fingers find the access panel Kira mentioned, its locking screws fused with frost from coolant leaks. You jam the edge of your shock baton under the seam, forcing it open with a grunt. The metal snaps, clattering into the shadows. Inside, tangled wires hum faintly, radiating static heat. You reach for the master control lever, a single red switch marked core power link. And then you hear it. A soft, wet hiss. You whip your head around just in time to see the second alien crouched low, muscles tensing like coiled springs. The shock baton hums in your grip as you raise it instinctively, sparks spitting pale blue arcs in the darkness. It freezes mid-motion, not because of you, because the first one raised its hand. It's controlling the others. Kira's voice spikes in your ear. B17 now. Pull the damn lever. You slam it down. Instantly, the terraformer core screams a deep mechanical roar as its lights gutter out. The blue glow dies, plunging the hub into total darkness. For the first time since you landed on Mars, you hear real silence. No hum, no AI voice, no machine breath, only yours and theirs, the sound of claws shifting lightly against the metal deck. Slow, unhurried, as if your gamble just made you more interesting to them. Your visor's night vision kicks in, bathing the hub in shades of green and shadow. The largest alien moves closer now, each step soundless, deliberate. Its chest glows faintly beneath thin skin, a single vertical vein pulsing in rhythm with the terraformer's last heartbeat. You stumble backward until your shoulders hit cold metal. Kira's voice cuts through the silence, frantic. Powers offline. You've got 60 seconds to reset atmospheric control before the colony starts venting heat into the void. You glance at the manual restart valve on the far side of the hub, 50 meters away. Between you and it, two aliens standing perfectly still, waiting. Somewhere above, the third one crawls through the ductwork, its tail scraping faintly against steel, circling you like a wolf hunting in silence. The first alien tilts its head again, the movement precise, calculating. Then, softly, it taps the floor with one claw. The sound echoes like a command. The other two leap. You dive sideways, rolling across the grated deck, sparks flying as claws slam where you'd been standing a second earlier. One alien hisses sharply, clicking its teeth against the metal, frustrated by missing you. You scramble toward the manual restart, lungs burning, every breath thinner than the last. Your visor flashes red. Oxygen, 14% survival time estimate, 0140 to 1 minute. 42 seconds. Behind you, claws scrape fast against metal, closing the distance. You reach the valve, slam your palm onto the activation plate, and twist hard. Nothing happens. You twist again, teeth gritted. Kira screams into your comm. The safety lock override the secondary latch. You fumble under the panel, fingers numb inside your gloves, finally finding a hidden lever. You yank it down. The terraformer core surges back to life. Lights explode across the hub, blinding you for a second. And the aliens vanish, not retreating, not fleeing, just gone. Your visor scans frantically, but there's no trace. No thermal signatures, no sound. The terraformer hums steadily again, systems stabilizing one by one. Your HUD updates. Oxygen LEVELS normalizing survival time. Extended, but Kira's voice, low and trembling, breaks the false calm. B-17. Check the dome seals. You glance at the main display. Dome pressure. Critical leak DTCTD sector G breach. Status. UNCONTAINED. Through the reinforced glass above the hub, you see it. A thin white plume of oxygen venting upward into the red Martian sky. And on the ridge beyond the dome, silhouettes stand against the dust storm. Not 3 anymore. 7. The first sound is not the alarms. It's the silence. a silence so heavy it presses into your chest, like another atmosphere trying to crush you from the inside. Then, faintly, the terraformer hum falters. Lights flicker overhead. Your HUD updates in cold, blunt words. Dome pressure falling, Sector G, failure containment breach. Imminent, a single vibration runs through the metal floor. Subtle at first, then harder, rattling bolts and shaking dust from the ceiling. The sound that follows tears through the colony's comm network. Not an AI alert this time, but hundreds of voices at once. The seals are cracking. Get the kids to the central hub now. It's inside Sector G. No, they are inside. And then static swallows everything. You spin toward the observation window above the terraformer hub. The Martian sky outside burns dark red, dust whipping violently under the low gravity winds. But it's not the storm that freezes your breath. It's the shapes, 7 of them now, lined along the ridge beyond the breach, silhouettes black against swirling ochre. They stand perfectly still, their translucent bodies faintly glowing blue under the storm's dying sunlight. And then one moves, not toward the dome, not toward you. It drops to its knees, placing its palm flat against the ground. Inside the hub, your seismic sensor immediately spikes. Seismic anomaly, DTCTD origin. Unknown structural integrity. Compromised, a deep, low-frequency rumble spreads under your boots, crawling up your legs, vibrating through your ribs. It's not an earthquake. Mars isn't alive like Earth. This is something else. Something calling. B-17. Kira's voice snaps in your ear, sharp and ragged. Get out of the terraformer hub now. They're destabilizing the foundation supports. If those beams go, the dome collapses. Before you can respond, an explosion rips through the far side of the habitat. The shockwave throws you into a wall, HUD flaring red, as your oxygen reserves spike, dip, and stabilize again. Through ringing ears, you hear screaming over open comm channels. Sector G is gone. As you push yourself upright, a blur streaks past your visor. A colonist sprinting blindly through the smoke, eyes wide, lips cracked and bloody inside his helmet. His oxygen gauge blinks empty, but he doesn't notice. He collapses 2 meters ahead, clawing at his throat as his visor fogs from the inside. You stumble toward him, but before you reach his body, a sound stops you. A click, soft, sharp, deliberate. You turn slowly, breath frozen in your chest. 2 of the aliens are inside the terraformer hub. The emergency lights paint them in harsh red shadows, but even through the glare you can see every detail: elongated limbs, translucent skin pulsing faintly with blue veins, black eyes like endless pits of glass. One crouches low on the grated floor, moving like liquid. The other climbs effortlessly along the wall, claws sliding into grooves in the steel, silent as frost forming on glass. Your HUD pulses. Proximity alert distance, 6.4 meters. The crouching one raises its head, nostrils flaring faintly against its smooth skin. as if smelling your breath through the helmet. Behind them, the terraformer core begins to scream again, a high-pitched whine like metal tearing under impossible pressure. Sparks rain from the central conduit, hissing as they bounce off the grated floor. B-17, Kira hisses through your comms. Listen carefully. There's no fixing this hub. Get to Central Command and secure the cryopods. If they breach those, we lose power, life support, everything. But there's no clear path. Between you and the exit, 2 aliens. Above, through the glass ceiling, 5 more still watching. The crouching alien moves first, impossibly fast. Claws slicing deep gouges into the grated deck as it lunges. You roll sideways, your shoulder slamming into the console, the impact making your visor crack faintly along the top edge. Your baton hums to life in your grip, throwing blue arcs across the room. You swing. The alien moves like liquid thought. It doesn't dodge, it bends. Its body ripples around the strike, bones shifting under translucent skin, and it lands silently behind you before you can track its movement. The second one drops from the wall, claws spread wide. B-17. Kira screams, "Run." You don't argue. You vault over the console, boots slamming into the deck, sprinting toward the corridor. You hear them behind you, claws tearing through metal, clicking against steel, faster than human legs were ever meant to outrun. Your HUD flares warnings again. Dome pressure, falling Sector F, COMPROMISCD, oxygen loss, 32%. You tear down the corridor, breath fogging inside your visor, every heartbeat slamming like a drum in your ears. Behind you, the sound of claws fades for just a moment. Then you hear another sound. Not behind you, above. Something crawls fast through the ventilation ducts, keeping pace. The corridor ahead forks into 3 passages. Kira's voice cuts sharp into your ear. Left, service shaft to command. You turn hard, boots skidding on the grated deck, and throw yourself into the narrow passage. Just as the alien in the duct above drops through the ceiling, slamming into the floor